Hey everyone, welcome to Let's Write Books, a weekly live stream show where writers can come together for community advice and, most importantly, a dedicated time for you to work on your book. And today on Let's Write Books, we are going to focus on developing your characters. I'm Micah Craddy, the head of writing at Butterdocs, the perfect app for writing your novel, and the app that I'm going to be using today and using to write my novel. If you want to learn more about Butterdocs for writing your novel, you can check out the link in the description below or go to butterdocs.com/fiction. Before we get into it, I want to know, where are you? What kind of book are you writing? And where are you in the process of your novel? Are you just starting out? Are you deep in it? Are you doing rewrites? Are you outlining? Yeah, let me know. To answer these questions, I am in Los Angeles. I'm writing a novel that genre-wise is kind of like a literary fiction with some like thriller and mystery. It's about three estranged best friends who come home for their 20th high school reunion to deal with a secret from their past. And, obviously conflict arises and things happen. Today, we're going to do 3 25-minute writing sprints. And during those writing sprints, you can either do your own thing, whatever you want to do, whatever you want to work on, or you can join me in developing your characters with a character development questionnaire, which I'll be sharing with you in just a second here. If you're a Butterdocs user, you can add the questionnaire to your account as a notes template just by clicking the link in the description below in YouTube. And in a little bit, I'll kind of go over more about that. But basically, once you add it as a note template to your account, you'll be able to use it again and again for all your characters across like all your projects in Butterdocs. But again, I'm going to get into that in a second. Let me just check in with the chat. Barbara, loving that new opening. Yeah, that was pretty cool. We just got that. Glad you're here, Barbara. Teji, hey, welcome from San Jose. And Tiffany in London. Juno in Massachusetts, excited to get some writing done. Awesome. Neffy from Seaside. James from New Jersey, writing a second draft of a sci-fi fantasy novel. Awesome. Elia, hey man, how you doing? Writing a fantasy book still in the draft. Teji is writing a cozy contemporary fantasy about 25% through the first draft. That sounds very, I don't know, suddenly I just want like a warm drink and a fire. Juno is saying, process-wise, I have a couple started and failed drafts of my memoir. Then I took some time to hammer out a more solid outline. Now I'm on a new draft based on that outline, still pretty near the start. Awesome. So glad you're here. Amy from Nashville, writing a memoir and a fantasy novel. I'm picturing you with like 2 laptops open and you have one hand on each one with like your eyes split, just like simultaneously writing your books at the exact same time. Cash is here working on a pitch Bible for his film. Yeah, this is Let's Write Books, but you don't have to write books. This is an open writing time. We're going to be focusing on novel writing, but I don't know if you want to write poetry or short stories or kind of like whatever creative project, or you're just like at work and you're bored, or you're like working from home and you're lonely and you have some writing to do and you just want to like hang out with us and do your writing. That's cool. It's all welcome here. Katie in Dallas working on the second draft of a fantasy novel. Fantastic. Neffy's, how's the air quality concern for your neighborhood? So yeah, big news in Los Angeles. We got rain this weekend, which is like the first rain we've had in forever. So that is very good for us. And so like the air quality is actually good right now and the fire danger is low. And yeah, hopefully we'll get some more rain later in the season, but we got rain, which, is just like something we need more of. Of course, like there's always the sad thing after fires, though, with rains, there's the risk of landslides. But it's sort of like, you kind of have to pick your poison a little bit. But yeah, we did get rain, which is great. Cheryl from Idaho, creating a graphic novel. Oh, fun. And like, yes, Tiffany, feeling the rain. In London, you probably have enough rain to spare. If you guys could like send some over to us, that'd be great. And Neffy is working on an ancient fantasy story, 1/3 through. Great. Cool. And Tiffany's also working on a graphic novel. Fantastic. All right. That's so cool. I'm glad y'all are here. So yeah. And like I said, since, when we do things like this, everyone's at a different, place in their book. So if you want to do the character development stuff with me, that's awesome. And like, I feel like that's something that can be helpful kind of at different stages of the novel to get to know your characters better. And sometimes like the more you've been working on it, the more easier it is for you to answer these questions because you've actually been thinking about them. But I want to show you guys how to do this note template, because it's also something in ButterDocs you can like use for other things. You can create your own note templates. You can share them with other users. You can use them across your document. So it's really helpful. So the way you do it to start with is you click on that link in the description below. And let me just show you, like, kind of, eventually it'll look like this, right? You just have your note here side by side with your book. I'm just starting, so my book is empty. I know some of you will have lots of words here, but basically you have your note open next to it, and so you can refer it to it as you're writing, which is pretty cool. But when you click that link in the description, you'll get basically to this page, and you just character development questionnaire and copy to my templates. And then you have to be logged into your account in the browser. But if you're logged into your account, copy to my templates, it'll be added to your account. Sometimes it might take a second to do. But then once you do that, once you've added it to your account, it's super easy just to create a note from it. So you just go over here to your little left sidebar, and here, and you go to notes. And then there's this little down arrow here, and it'll say new note from template. And then you just click it, character development questionnaire, and it'll create a new note from that template. And then once you do that, you can then like change the title of the note to like whatever the name is of the character. So like you can keep all your notes, keep them straight in your head. So they don't have like the same note title, and they'll be listed there. And pretty soon we're gonna be adding notes categories, which is gonna be awesome. You'll be able to have all your character notes like together, and you can like link between them and everything. So anyways, that's all to say that this is what I'm going to be working on, this character questionnaire. These are suggested questions. You can answer them in any order you want. You might not know the answers to some of them yet. And you can spend the sprints anytime you want. So for instance, you could spend all 3 sprints doing a questionnaire for one character if you really want to dive into it, or you could do a different character each sprint, or like, whatever you want to do. But the questions are, what is the character's name? Which weirdly for me, this is like the hardest question sometimes, because it's like, I don't know yet. I know everything about them except their name. What is an aspect of their physical appearance or an action that tells us something about them? I think this is really cool because it really helps ground the character in like something physical, which can really help us get a sense of like who they are, what kind of person they are. What do they want most in life? Why do they want it? And what are they most afraid of, and why? These are great. I think these are so important. I'm always talking about character motivations here. So what do they want most in life, and why do they want it are great. And then what are they most afraid of? Why? You can also think of this question as like, why haven't they got this yet? Right? If they want this because of this, but they haven't got it, like what's inside them? Sometimes there's external things, right, that are keeping them from it. But also like, is there something inside of them that's holding them back? What are they most afraid of? Why? Who are the most important people in their lives? Why are they important? I think that's really helpful in terms of like building relationships and like the relational structures in your novel. I feel like sometimes when writing, like you'll notice this a lot in like TV shows or movies or things, you'll be like, why doesn't anyone have any friends? Right? Like it's all focused just on kind of the main character. So that's really helpful. And then the last question is, what initial situation launches the character into action? And that's, great. We kind of touched on this a little bit last week for, just starting off your novel and like really launching the story forward. But like launches them towards sort of these things up here. Yeah. So that's the character development questionnaire. This was adapted from an author named C.J. Reibel, who taught my wife, who's a fiction writer, and she kind of shared these questions to me, and I tweaked them a little bit. But basically, it's kind of come down to me, and I think these are really cool questions. So that's what I'm going to be working on during the writing sprint. All right, so I think we're going to jump into it now. We're going to do some writing. This is going to be the first of our 3 sprints. And I'm going to be doing character development. You can join me in doing the character development questionnaire, or you can do your own stuff. But I'm going to play some music, put the 25-minute timer on, and then we'll check in, in the chat afterwards, and we'll see how that went. And again, questions, ask them in the chat. I know you have people here of different experience levels. So if you have questions, jump in, and if you have answers to those questions, jump in and feel free to answer. And I think we're just going to get some great writing today. done today. So I'm going to play some music and start the timer and get you guys all on the other side. All right, that was the end of our first writing sprint for today, the first of 3. If you just joined us, this is Let's Write Books. We're doing 3 25-minute writing sprints. Yeah, again, that was the first one, so we got 2 more to go. And today we are focusing on character development. There are character development questions in the description. If you want to use those, you can copy and paste them. Or if you're a Butterdocs user, you can use the link and add the note template to your Butterdocs account. And then you have that questionnaire and you can use it over and over again for all your characters on all your stories. So it's really cool. How was the sprint? Get in the chat. Let me know. I want to know, did you learn anything new? If you were doing the questionnaire, did you learn anything new about your characters? And which question kind of led to the most insights? Because I was actually surprised. For me, I spent most of that sprint working on not the first question. The second question was an aspect of their physical appearance or an action that tells us something about them. I really had no idea for this character I was doing the questionnaire for, but I ended up doing like paragraph after paragraph kind of on that question, and it really like unlocked a lot about them and how they carry themselves, what it means about themselves, what it means about how they see the world and how other people see them, about sort of their past and their present and how the two are in contrast. About what he values in himself. So it was really interesting. I wasn't kind of expecting that. I'd be like, oh, he like brushes the hair out of his face and it means blah, blah, blah. I don't know, something like that, kind of small. But it like ended up going really deep into sort of like his psychology and like his viewpoint and how people see him and how he moves through the world, and how his present is kind of a reaction to his past. So that was really cool. I was not expecting a lot from that question. So yeah, I want to know like how did the writing go for you? Did you learn anything about your characters? Was there anything in the sprint that surprised you or that you learned? I want to then also mention for next week, there's a RSVP link below, and we are doing a focus on building your novel's world. So I see a lot of you in the chat. We're talking about kind of you have stories set in like different worlds or different time periods and stuff. So next week, we're going to be talking about kind of how you can use the setting in the world, not only to have like a rich world, but also use the setting to influence your story and your characters. So I think that's really relevant for people who, are writing something in genre, fantasy or historical or science fiction or things in different worlds. But I think it's kind of under the radar for people who are writing something that like actually takes place in the here and the now, even in memoir, just like where you are and sort of the reality of your world. The institutions that you bump up against, the geography, the weather, all that kind of stuff can help shape your story. So that's next week. You can RSVP in the link below, and I think that should be a really good time. Let's see here. What do we got here? Barbara was feeling the same thing about physical. Wasn't on my radar until I saw that question. So helpful on the physical versus motion. Great. Awesome. Amy Lane, a little trouble in my mind as a mixer. I didn't know anyone had trouble striking up conversations to get to know the characters. I'm terrible with names. That kind of threw me off. I'll be honest. I skipped the name question for now. And I just kind of wrote, like this character is a candidate for the running for office. And so I just wrote the candidate, and that's kind of how I'm thinking about them. I think sometimes you can think of them kind of like as an archetype for now until they have a name. Like how do you refer to them? What do you think of them as? And that can kind of be helpful until you get the name. I know a lot of people were talking about names and like how they come up with names. And I also wanted to share a website that I think is really cool that was actually created by a screenwriter I know. And it's called randy.com. And basically, as in like random name generator. And what you can do is at the top here, you can like select attributes, right? So like the gender, the popularity of it, the year of the birth, the last name, the race, if it's a popular name or whatever. So basically, and then it'll just kind of create all these random things based on census data. You can even have it start with something. And so it's randy.com. It was created by a screenwriter right now. And it's just really cool for like, creating. So you can be like a female with high popularity that was born in, 1980, and it'll just give all these names, and you can like change different attributes about it too. And so I think it's a really cool tool. Nisi, welcome. Katie was also feeling the appearance thing. I've known this character as a scar tattoo, but there's always been trouble landing on what it's exactly, but I think I unlocked an idea. There's a lot of thematic relevance. Oh, that's awesome. Great. Barbara, excited for world building next week. Let's see, Carla, I was so focused on what they wanted that when I got to the next question about the why, I just like, that's funny, but I feel like, you're so focused on what they want. You might have answered that in that question, but I think that's really important to know why they want that thing. Again, in screenwriting, we call this the external goal versus the internal goal. The why is sometimes called the hole in their soul, right? So it's like what they want is in the world. It's what they want. But like, what's the emotional reason? That's what the why is. Like, what's the thing inside of themselves, the hole they're trying to fill, the wound they're trying to heal is another way of thinking about it. The underlying issue that they're trying to deal with or they're avoiding dealing with, but it's there. I think that's a great way to think of the why. Yeah, that's the randy.com. The random name generator is really, really cool. I love it. And some other people are talking about like how they think of names. Like Juno, how does it sound? How does the person feel about their own name? I think that's interesting. How do they feel about their own name? That's always a weird thing. Cause like, I love my name. Like, it's just a thing that I just love my name, Micah, even though it's frequently misspelled and mispronounced throughout my whole life. I love it. Yeah. It's because it's kind of rare, but it's not like super rare. People still kind of know it, but it's enough where it's like meeting someone else named Micah is like a special thing. Does it suggest something true or false about the character? Does it suggest politics or time period? That's always interesting about my name because my name is from the Bible and my dad was a pastor. So like it says something about who I was and how I was raised. So yeah, I think that's really, Juno, these are really awesome questions about names. And Neffy was talking about popular names for the time period. Yeah, so that website could be helpful. Obviously, the website I showed, it doesn't go back to like the 1800s or whatever. So that's a resource. But I always thought this was cool. I make up names by combining names from other languages and sound them out so that they go with the strength or weakness of a character. That's kind of fun. That sounds like a fun way to go about things and could be interesting. Teji, since I'm Asian myself, a lot of my characters are Asian, have Indian, Korean, Japanese, etc. names. Oh, that's awesome. That's cool. Yeah, I mean, like obviously, like drawing on your own cultural heritage is a very like fruitful resource for your writing in all sorts of ways. Awesome, y'all. That was I think that was a really good first sprint. I didn't actually finish like all the questions for one character, so I think in this second sprint, I'm just gonna like keep going for this character. And then when I finish it, just kind of like roll on to the next one. It actually works perfectly for me because I have like 3 main characters and there's 3 sprints. So that's going to work. That's going to work well. But yeah, I think we should hop back into it. We're going to do the second writing sprint. Again, you can continue on that character you were working on. You can do a questionnaire for another character. And that's pretty cool. In Butterdocs, you can just create another, you can just use that same notes template and just create a new note. So you don't have to, so for instance here, let me share my screen really quick. So I have, sorry for the whistling if that was suddenly loud. So I have this candidate, I just have for candidate, and then I can just come in here and I can do another one and boom, I get a fresh template for my next character. And I can change the name, of that one. So you can just keep creating fresh ones for like all your characters, which is really cool. Great. All right. So I want to keep writing. Let's do the 25-minute, the next writing sprint, the middle one. And then we'll chat a little bit more in the next break. But I'm feeling this. I'm like getting to know my characters. I'm excited. So I'm gonna play some music, and and then we'll chat again. All right, here we go. 25 minutes on the clock. Get the music going. This one's called Night Driving. We listened to Daydreaming in the first one. Now we're gonna listen to some Night Driving, which I think is a really cool writing vibe. the 25 minutes. Catch you guys on the other side. Snuck up on me there. That is the end of the second of our 3 or 25-minute writing sprints. Yeah, how's that one? Did the muses show up for some of you? Did they abandon you? How was the writing? If you were working on the character questionnaires, did you learn anything new about your characters? Was it the same question maybe that was helpful this time, or was there a different question that kind of proved to be the most insightful question for this writing sprint? For me, it was a little different. This one was the question that kind of got me was who are the most important people in their lives, and why are they important? Because I sort of realized that for this character, I was doing the questionnaire for like they're the most important person in their life, in the sense that they're very, focused on themselves, and everyone else is sort of tangential, and like the close relationships are more like transactional, basically, which sort of kind of made me sad and gave me the sense of loneliness at this character's life, and how there's sort of a divide between them and everyone else. And maybe other people in their lives want to bridge that gap, but like they can't. So I think that was really interesting. That was the one that got to me. It was who are the most important people in their lives, and why are they important? And then I finished that questionnaire on that character and started on the second character kind of in the middle of that sprint. And then again, for the second character, I was starting with the physical attribute or physical action. And I had no idea for this one. And I was just like, I don't know. But then suddenly something came to me that like really fit thematically with who they are. And it was kind of the idea that I was like, the past very much haunts this person. And I sort of had this idea of like, they're always sort of looking behind them, like they think someone's coming up behind them. They're always checking behind their back. And so it's sort of like this idea, like, oh yeah, they're always looking backward, which sort of like crystallized who they were for me. So I want to hear how that went for you. If you want to do some more writing this week, we have another writing show. I mean, some of y'all know about this already for our other app, because we have 2 writing apps: Butterdocs, which is, for writing novels and things like that, and then Arc Studio, which is writing scripts. And so we do a writing show on Wednesday afternoons for Arc Studio called Write With Us, which I think is actually going to get changed to Let's Write Scripts pretty soon. But that's Wednesdays at 1 p.m. Eastern, and you can RSVP for that at arcstudiopro.com/events. And it's another chance to write. You can either work on a script or your novel or whatever else you want. But arcstudiopro.com/events. I think there's a link to that in the description if I remember to put it there. But that's a little later in the day on Wednesdays. And it's a great time and more writing. All right, let's see how we're doing. Katie had to head out, but glad she was here. Elia, muses are kind of whispering today. Oh man, maybe it's late where you are, right? So like maybe they're tired for the day. Cash feeling it in that sprint a little better. Neffy, questions are great to go back and check if the characters are on track. Yeah, that's one of the things I think about these questions, and is obviously it's fantastic if you're at the start of something, but it's like a great way to like actually check in on your characters. Because sometimes if you're writing, you just have the momentum and you're going, and you like can actually look back and be like, wait, are these characters doing what I want them to do? Are they exploring the conflicts and the issues that I want them to be? Are they embodying the things that I want them to be embodying? So it can be a kind of a good check-in, kind of regardless of where you are. Amy Lane, love the last question. What situation launched them to action? That opens up to the whole world and brings my characters to life. Yeah, it's a great question. And it's so great for just like where do you start, right? Where do you start? Because, you can kind of start a story at any time. And so this question, I think, really helps crystallizes it. This is a great question. I added what they need under what they want, since they don't know what they actually need versus what they want. Interesting. That's kind of what the why is for me. It's like what they need is the why they want it. But I feel like, yeah, that's a different way of thinking of it. But I like that a lot. It's like the need versus the want. But you can interpret why do they want that in different ways. But I like that addition to the questionnaire. Well, that's really cool. Barbara, fantastic sprint. Your character questions stimulate a lot of ideas. And what does the character need and doesn't know yet? And what are their skills? Oh, yeah. So same. What do they need? Same as Ghost Cat. And then you also added what are their skills? Yeah. Oh, that's great. That's cool. I think that's also kind of because I think skills can tell you so much about a character. Obviously, like in relationship to what they're going to be doing in your story, but also like in terms of like what they value, and what they've taken the time to develop in their life. And oftentimes I feel like skills can be an overcompensation for flaws, and weaknesses. So yeah, I think those are great additions to the. Yeah, James realized a flashback my secondary character had when she realized how she met the protagonist, but still doesn't fully understand his past. Oh, cool, awesome, great. Juno sprint was good. Had a couple hundred words down so far, which is more than I usually get done. By the way, is the sandwich just feature of the show, breakfast food of the week. So what Juno is referring to, if you don't come to Write With Us, is every week at Write With Us, I show a sandwich of the week, which I don't have here because that's like a different. Wait, no, I do have the sandwich of the week. So it's like this was last week's sandwich of the week, which yeah, is just like my favorite sandwich that I made that week. But like, I don't want to just use the sandwich of the week for Let's Write Books because like that's a different thing. But I haven't found yet what the thing is going to be for Let's Write Books, my weekly thing. So yeah, I think it has to happen organically. Like I can't force it. It just has to hit me with like, oh yeah, this is what I'm going to show. I thought one thing I could do is like a reading of the week. I don't know if you guys would dig that. Like, because, you know, I love reading books and stuff. And if I read a passage of something that like strikes me during the week, I might just like read to y'all just like a paragraph or so to kind of like get the creative juices flowing. So yeah, it might be like a passage of the week that I read in the future about writing, which I think could be pretty cool. Allie, who joined us, I think I didn't get to say hello to Allie. I saw you joined a little late, but so glad you're here. Second sprint was good, trying to figure out details of a conflict between characters and the way their morals affect the situation. Fantastic. Yeah, I think that's great. And I think the morals, that's another way of looking at kind of like what's important to them, what they want, and like why they want it. Because I feel like, yeah, the morality goes to the worldview and what kind of actions they're going to be doing. I think that's really cool. Yeah. All right. Awesome. I think that's good. We're going to do one more writing sprint. It's going to be, 25 more minutes. And, yeah, it's kind of the same thing. We're going to continue it on. I'm going to keep doing the questionnaire. I'm going to try to finish the questionnaire for the second character. And maybe, if I have time, move on to a third character. But I'm so glad y'all are here. I hope to see you next week. Or later this week at Write With Us. You can RSVP again for both of those. And I'm trying to think if there's anything else that I wanted to chat with y'all. But I think that's it. So I think we're going to get in, just like finish it off strong. If you have to leave during the writing sprint, no worries. Come and go as you please. Say a farewell in the chat. Let me know how it went when you got done today. And yeah, also like during the week, you know, if you guys know other writers you think would enjoy this, feel free to spread the word. You can post it in whatever your communities are, just like tell people. Yeah, really want this community to grow. Yeah, I love what we're building here so far. All right, so I think we're gonna go back and just like do the music for the first one, Daydreaming again, because that was a good vibe. And I'm gonna put 25 more minutes on the clock, and we're gonna finish strong, everybody. So glad you're here. And again, if you have to leave during the sprint, farewell and thanks for coming. But let's do it 25 minutes and we can say our final farewells on the other side. Here we go. Took myself off stage instead of unmuting myself. Sorry. Anyways, that is the end of our third writing sprint and the end of Let's Write Books today. Our second episode of Let's Write Books. This one focusing, of course, on developing our characters with those character questionnaires that a lot of us were doing. Thank you so much for joining. I hope you got some great writing done. I did. I had, I really got to know my characters better. Like, I'm sort of smiling because I'm sort of surprised that the questionnaire was actually as helpful as it was. And so I'm very happy about it and kind of about the progress and just I'm feeling much more confident about this book, especially because I'm at the beginning of it still. So I'm like, oh, there is a story here. There are characters here that I'm excited to explore. So yeah, I hope you all had a great writing day as well. On Wednesday, we're doing Write With Us, which you can join. For Arc Studio, if you're writing a screenplay or whatever you want to write. And next Wednesday, we are going to be doing Let's Write Books again, same time, same place. Hope to see you all then. Until I see you next time, be kind to yourselves and happy writing. All right, see y'all.